to be here with all of you to talk about talent development and new frontiers in this field. I think we can all agree it's been a kind of wide years for people to work in the space of talent. There's been, turnover, people leaving their jobs and looking for new jobs. There's been AI raising questions about what kind of jobs will even be available to skilled workers in 5 years, 10 years, 30 years. So we have two incredible experts here to speak with us about what all of this means for those who are thinking about developing pipelines for skilled workers to find the very best jobs. So I want to start with you, Felipe. And I want to ask, because we're on the subject of frontiers, what's coming next, the future. It's interesting to think about what it means to create jobs for skilled workers in a moment where AI is also posing a threat to many of the jobs that we consider, fundamental right now, to many of the jobs that we've been putting talented workers into. So what do you think about, how AI is affecting the field that you're working in, the question of talent development?
Thanks, Em. That's a great question. I think that AI is coming. Well, it's not just coming, it's already here. It's already replacing jobs, and it's already turning jobs more efficient in a way. And I think the main issue with, especially when you think of a country like Brazil or the emerging markets, is the shortage of skilled talent. Because the jobs that AI are going to replace, at least the first ones, are the ones that are more operational, and those people, they are not skilled to take the jobs that are going to be created by AI or enhanced by it. And that's the type of dichotomy and challenge that we need to face. And one of the main issues is, how do we prepare ourselves to work alongside with AI in order to really take advantage of this technology and not create a social friction even bigger.
So it sounds like you're saying AI could be our friend.
It could.
Okay,
yeah.
We're thinking about how AI can help us create more interesting roles rather than cutting some of the ones that we have.
Exactly.
So Renata, you think a lot about the psychology of the workforce, behavior, what workers want and need in order to thrive. And that's a really topical subject right now, because more and more people are thinking about how can companies create perks that recruit skilled workers without encouraging people to make work their entire lives. There's a lot more conversation about boundaries between work and life, especially for the youngest members of the workforce. So how do you think, amidst all of this conversation about work and life, we can rethink what sort of perks workers really want?
Well, Emma, I don't think companies really realize how deep is our reframing of the meaning of work. In the last years, we are facing several very important changes as ER, as the pandemic, as the lifelong learning concept that changes everything, and talks about this changing that we are facing and understanding. And there are the mental health issues. So there is this package of influences that makes us change and reframe the meaning of work. And only if companies understand this changing of meaning, they can create perks that are efficient. For me, they have to create more than perks. They have to create a more valuable environment for the employees. And they will only do that by thinking how to work differently, how to get the leadership involved, how to make leaders, for example, more able to develop people, not only to offer perks, It's more ambitious project.
Thank you so much for that. So Felipe, I want to go back to you on the AI question, because I think a lot of people here are really interested in what all of that means for people in the talent space. So if I heard you correctly before, it sounds like you were saying AI could really actually enhance a lot of jobs that currently exist and maybe even open up new opportunities for workers that we can't even think of right now. Are there going to be jobs that exist in 5 or 10 years as a result of AI that we're maybe not even thinking of right now? Are the pipelines going to look completely different? I think people talk a lot about job loss when it comes to AI. What about job creation?
That's a great question. Well, lots of new jobs are definitely going to be created. We don't have like a crystal ball to see the future and see exactly what are those jobs, but my take on that is that we'll have jobs on creation of AI itself, so lots of computer engineers, software engineers that will be creating the new tools that AI is going to serve us, and there is the jobs that are going to work with AI. So, and AI is more likely to be your next co-worker. You'll be writing your articles alongside with bots that will be helping you in so many different ways. And you have to get used to that idea that AI is probably going to be working with you and therefore enhance your productivity and your ability to work better.
I wonder if we're going to be getting the coffee for AI, or AI is going to be running and getting our coffee. I hope they're nice coworkers.
Hopefully.
And Renata, do you want to jump in on that as well?
Yes, I want. I want to bring some behavioral aspects to this vision of the future, because AI can answer some things, but what kind of work environment, what kind of world do we want to create, and how we can use technology to do so? So we are always asking what AI will do. AI is supposed to work for us. What do we want to do with AI? For me, this is the question we have to think about, and we have to think about positively. We have to create positive scenarios to work with technology and to apply technology in our daily lives, so we can manage the future and build whatever we want.
That's a great point, Renata. I love that idea of, we have more control in our hands than we might think. But how do companies create a culture in which workers feel empowered to be a part of these decisions, to be a part of these conversations? You think a lot about what it means for workers to thrive in their working environments. How do we build corporate cultures where workers do feel like they have some say in these big decisions, including, what kind of AI we're working alongside of in the years to come?
You kind of asked that. We have to talk with employees. We have to listen. We have to do more things collaboratively, because all these changes in the meaning of work also changed what we expect from work. So what do we expect? We expect to learn. We expect to be part of this work. We expect our company to make a statement, to be part of the change we are facing. We expect to exchange ideas about political environment, about things that we value, and we expect companies to share these values with us. So all these changes make the entrepreneurs obliged to face a different way to manage and to create business. This is how deep I believe this change is. We have to think differently how to create business.
I love that. I think that's so important to open those conversations. I want to turn to a different topic a little bit that I think is on a lot of people's minds, which is remote work. When we think about what workers want right now, what they're looking for, I think for a lot of people, it's trending more and more toward flexibility. People want to be able to work from their homes so they can run and pick up their kids, or they want to be able to work from the beach in Rio, right? There's a lot more opportunity for workers right now. How has the rise of remote work in recent years affected what it means to build pipelines for workers and to nurture talent abroad and recruit, as well?
I think it changes. It changes not only how you recruit, but how do you look for new jobs, and open up lots of new opportunities, because the location is not a restriction anymore, but it also creates lots of new issues when it comes to people management. It's much harder to manage people remotely. When it comes to maintaining a culture, so the work culture is super important for any company, and when you have a workforce that is distributed locally, it's much harder to do that. And if you're looking for a job, you also need to how do you network? How do you showcase your own work alongside the boundaries of your manager? Those are questions that are rising with remote work that I think companies are trying their best to answer.
You raised the issue of management in remote workplaces, and Renata, earlier you were speaking to culture and to the importance of employees feeling like they're part of a conversation in their companies. How can employers still go about creating a culture that feels open and conversational when they're not actually working side by side in person with their workers?
Well, I think to build a collaborative culture in a remote work could be more difficult for us because we are not very adapted yet to remote work. But we have several companies that was created to be remote. So we have examples and we have very good practices that we can share with them. For example, about how we share information of the company, about how we can create moments of interaction in every meeting, or how we organize work in a way that we respect different time zones. This is some issues that we should address, and especially the leadership. We should address how we are leading people in a remote work. We have to talk to everyone. We have to guarantee they are developing themselves. We have to guarantee the job and the deliverables are okay. So we have these several attitudes that change in form, but not in function. It's like the same, but in a different environment.
Respect. I think that's great. That's so important. And I want to ask both of you, we talked about AI, we talked about remote work. We're almost out of time, but very quickly, is there another force that's reshaping your work and the talent space that maybe no one in this room is even thinking of yet?
Whoa.
And we have 30 seconds. Blow
ahead,
everyone's minds.
Yeah. I think we have this power of understanding how behavior works in different environments. This is a tool we are not using yet. This is very human and very deep and very scientific, and business should learn much more about behavior to do it.
Felipe?
I'd say the global movement, when all the layoffs and the new trends that are happening are just turning the human side of work even more important. And I think this return to human aspects of work.
It's a lot to consider. I think it's safe to say the workforce as we know it now is not going to look the same in 5 or 10
Definitely.
years, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you all so much. And thank you, Felipe and Renata.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.